I hope you guys are ready for season 2, because this season we're going to be doing it bigger, look at that, badder, and better than ever before. You guys, I hope you're holding on, because here we go. Well, hello everyone, and welcome to season 2, I guess you could call it. I just recently moved down to Virginia, Central Virginia, and I live right near the Shenandoah National Park. So right near Skyline Drive and everything like that. So have a really nice scenic route for us today. So to start off, kind of like my season, what I'm going to end up doing is I'm actually going to do a review on the bike. Like a part 2 kind of. I've had this bike for a little bit over a year now, and my opinions on the bike have changed a bit. I've put about 5,000 miles on it since I bought it. When I first did my original review, which I'll leave a link in the comments, when I originally did that video, the bike was basically bone stock. I'd only been riding it for a couple hundred miles. You know, I really didn't know how to ride the bike properly, and I mean, I'm still learning things daily on this thing, but I really wasn't comfortable with the bike. The bike was very stock. Ever since then, I've changed a heck of a lot on the bike. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about Ducati ownership, especially the 848. I guess the big thing that people worry about is cost of the bike and cost of maintenance. As far as the bike's cost, the market for them, at least right now, they're definitely affordable. I bought mine with 1,600 miles on it for, you know, like a little over 7,000, and I mean, the thing was absolutely gorgeous. And right now I'm seeing, you know, the 848s, you know, a little bit more miles, you know, 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 mile range, but they're like going for 6,000. Price wise, you know, for what the bike is, it's a great deal right now. And they're, you know, if you're looking at getting one, I wouldn't wait. You're gonna be missing out if you don't get one, I think. So this is my first time on this road, and oh my god, it's so smooth. So maintenance, yeah, they're more expensive to maintain than a, let's say, a Jap bike. You get what you pay for. You're paying for Ducati, you're paying for that brand, that, you know, top of the line. It's going to be a little expensive as far as maintaining the bike. I try to do my oil change at least twice a year, but I don't really ride that much. Oil change is usually done every 3,750 miles, I believe. And you want to, you know, do the clutch fluid, brake fluid, you know, those are both hydraulic. I'm going to pull over for a second because I can't even think. I'm having a real hard time concentrating and riding at the same time right now. Usually when I motovlog, I don't have to think so much about the bike. As far as maintenance and everything goes on these bikes, it's really not that bad. You know, it's every 7,500 miles, you have to do the timing belt and water pump, and they check the valves and oil change, all the fluids, spark plugs, you know, everything, you know, just kind of tune it up. And typically that service, you know, depending if they had to adjust the valves or not, can run from, you know, 800 to, you know, 1,200 US, depending on where you go. If you go to a dealership, yeah, like, it's going to be more, but, you know, you kind of have that security as well, knowing that they did it right. So as far as stuff that I've done to the bike, so you can see, have nice bright LED headlights. I also replaced these two, I don't know if you can see that, but with red LEDs as well. Mirror block-off plates with the blinkers, so I got rid of those really crappy mirrors. I absolutely hated them, and that was like one of the first things I actually did, was get rid of the stock mirrors and throw those on. And then I have a handlebar mirror on the end, which is awesome. Grip pads on the side of the tank, which I love. Those were actually pretty cheap. I think they're only $12-15 on Amazon. Kind of, you know, the scratch protection pad for the tank. That was cheap as well. Definitely recommend getting that so you don't scrape up your bike. Carbon fiber rear mud hugger for and I love it. It keeps all the dirt and everything off from the underside of the bike. Definitely recommend getting one of those. Going towards the back, TST integrated taillight. This thing is awesome. I love it so far. I've only had it on for about a week though. People have been kind of saying, yeah, like, it's great, but it doesn't last very long, so we'll see with that. And then, of course, my turny slip-ons. I don't have the ECU for it. They sound absolutely amazing. They really open up the bike, and you definitely do notice a little bit of a horsepower gain. It's nothing, you know, substantial. I'm sure with the ECU would be phenomenal, but that's really about it. And I'm running the Michelin Pilot Power 2 CTs. I absolutely love these dual compound, and they work amazing. So, alright guys, I'm going to hop back on the bike and we're going to do a little bit more riding, since me standing here and talking is pretty boring, to be honest. You can hear that Termi exhaust. I don't know how well it's coming through the mic. God, it sounds gorgeous. Oh, here's some deer. There you go. Little deer. Okay, so as far as dislike, I'll do the dislikes first, because let me tell you, there are a few dislikes, but there's only a few. For the most part, I absolutely love this bike, but I'll get the dislikes out of the way first. Probably my biggest pet peeve about this bike, and no, it's not the riding position actually, it's actually this bike specifically, it's the paint. So, let me explain. The paint is gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's a flat or a matte pearl white with the red frame and the red wheels and everything. The paint is gorgeous. Maintaining the paint and keeping it gorgeous sucks. I have found that the paint on this bike marks up very easily, and when you scratch it or something, it does not come out. And so that can be pretty annoying. So I have a few scuffs and stuff on this bike, you know, like right here. I can't get this one out. You probably can't see it, but there's a little scratch right here. Can't get it out. And as far as washing it and everything like that, you have to basically dry wash it. You know, you can't take a hose and water and everything to it and soak it down like I used to do. And you can't use regular soap either, because that'll ruin the finish. So, that being said, that is a little bit of a pain in the butt. But you know what, it's more specific to like the flat paints, like so where you have the stealth black and the pearl white Ducatis. Other than that, like the reds or whatever, where they have a clear coat, it's not a huge deal. So that's kind of like an issue I have with my bike personally. The second thing, riding position. It's not the most comfortable bike, okay? It's not a bike you're gonna hop on and you're gonna do, you know, 3, 4, 5 hour cruise with it, you know? It's not gonna happen. I mean, you can do it, but you're gonna be hurting. You're gonna be absolutely hating yourself afterward. And so there are a few things you can do to change that. You can get upgraded Footpegs, the rear sets. Those typically run about $300 range. You can get different handlebars. I'm not sure what those go for, but that'll kind of change the position a little bit, ease up on your wrists a little bit. And then you can also get a aftermarket seats. Typically those go for around $300 for like a good one, for like a Saddleman. I don't have any of that, but honestly, I don't go riding, you know, for hours and hours. Like I'll go out for, you know, and maybe an hour, hour and a half, and take it home, and that's good enough for me. So that's really, again, that's not a huge one. Okay, so another dislike about this bike is the cooling system. So as long as you're driving, moving around, it's great. But if you try to take this thing through the city, you're going to be absolutely miserable. I'm just letting you know right now, this is not a city bike. Let me say that again. This is not a city bike. You will hate yourself, and you will be constantly at, you know, 210 to 220 degrees, sitting there in traffic, and you're going to hate your life. This is a back road, highway, always moving kind of bike. It does not like to sit still. It is very, very temperamental. Now, that being said, there are upgrades that you could do. You could upgrade the oil cooler, you got to upgrade the radiator, and all that stuff, and change the coolant. Yes, you can do that, but that's going to cost you about $2,000. And it's just not to mention, it's like, why would you get such a mean and powerful bike just to drive around the city? So please keep that in mind when you are looking at getting one. Another dislike, trying to think of one. I guess another dislike could be, like, it definitely attracts a lot of attention. And I'm not talking about the good kind of attention, and I'm not talking about cops. I'm more referring to the bad kind of attention, the kind of attention that ends up with your bike being stolen, stripped out, and sold for parts, that kind of attention. It's all based on where you live and where you're taking the bike and where you're leaving your bike. I always keep mine inside, garaged, you know, front and rear stand, covered, everything. But whenever I take it out, like into town and stuff, I'm definitely very paranoid about leaving the bike. And I mean, yeah, you can lock the steering wheel, that's great, you know, lock the handlebars, that's all well and good, but, you know, how much is that really going to do? If somebody really wants to take your bike, that's not going to stop them. They're going to take your freaking bike. So that, to me, that's another big thing I do not like about the bike. Now that I've fixed a lot of the issues that I had with the bike prior. So I guess the amount of attention it draws can be positive and have a little bit of a negative connotation as well. We're actually going to turn in here because this looks nice. Look at that. Alright, so now that we've covered cons on the bike, which, like I said, there weren't too many of them, we're going to go through the pros of this bike, and there's a lot of them. So I'm just going to list off kind of like my top 3, top 4, top 5. We'll see how far I get. There are a lot more pros than cons to this bike. Pro. It is absolutely gorgeous. It looks gorgeous, it sounds gorgeous, it is gorgeous, but I mean, that's kind of a biased opinion. But I absolutely love the look of this bike, and there really isn't too much out there on the market that can compete with the looks of this bike, except for, you know, other Ducatis, like the new Panigales. Like, those are gorgeous bikes. I love the single swing arm on this bike. I think that's just kind of like its signature. Another pro, it is extremely torquey. It is torquey no matter what, like, rev range you're in. Yeah, it's torqueier at the higher end, but like not much. It's, you know, the V-twins on these bikes are absolutely amazing. Another thing I love about this bike is the I guess the rarity of the bike. Yeah, they may not be, you know, they might be more common where you are than where I am, but where I am, you don't see many of these, especially in this color. And it's honestly part of the reason why I got the bike in this color, is because of the uncommonness, the rarity of the pearl white with the red frame and the red wheels. That to me was a big, like, that was a must-have when I went to find my Ducati. Now, one of the things that I do recommend, and I mean, this is more based on you and your comfortability and your riding skill. This was not my first bike. This is my second bike, actually. My first bike was a CBR 600 F3, and I loved that bike too. That was an amazing bike, and it was an even better first bike. Now, this bike, as far as a first bike for a beginner rider, you know, that's never ridden before or anything like that, I would suggest looking at something else first. Nothing against new riders or whatever, but, you know, typically, even experienced riders, you're gonna dump the bike. You know, you're gonna come around a bend, you're gonna come too hot, you're gonna dump it, or you're gonna hit sand or leaves or oil or water, whatever. You're gonna drop your bike. And wouldn't you rather drop a like $2,000-$3,000 CBR that's like, all right, whatever, I can go off eBay and buy new plastics for it, than a $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, $9,000 Ducati, where guess what, you're going to pay almost $1,000, $1,500, if not more, for new fairings. Had I gotten this for a first bike, I would have probably ended up killing myself. Only just because it's so powerful, and it's such a different ride than a Jap bike. It's very, very front heavy. The braking is a lot more aggressive. The throttle's a lot more aggressive. Just everything about the bike is just, it's aggressive. It's a racing bike. It's not meant for a first bike. That's just my personal opinion. So, I mean, if you're looking at getting one of these for, you know, your first bike, I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying really, really think about it. You can learn so much by riding a smaller bike. You know, so this is the 848. So this is a 849cc V-twin engine. It's a very, it is definitely a huge upgrade, a huge bump from my old CBR 600. And I'm definitely very, very happy that I didn't get this as a first bike. I'm not even getting the red line there when I'm, you know, accelerating. You don't need to. It just keeps on pulling. Also, another thing, the 848 has the wet clutch. 1098, 1198 has the dry clutch. They do make a conversion kit as well for the 848 to do a wet clutch to dry clutch conversion. A lot of people recommend to not do it just because it really is not beneficial. And unless you want to hear just the entire time you're sitting at a red light, there's no point in doing it. And that was really scary. Yeah, that's a good place to turn around you. Alright, so to wrap it up with this review part 2. So, things that I've changed on the bike: mirrors, exhaust, headlights, taillights, blinkers, sticky pads, and like stuff for the tank. Look at that. And carbon fiber bits. So, and mirror. Things that I still don't like about the bike: riding position, okay, paint, and the amount of attention it gets, and maintenance. But I haven't had to do the big maintenance tickets yet, so that's whatever. Affordability and cost. So we determined that right now the 848 are fairly affordable if you're looking for, you know, a Ducati. Maintenance. Yeah, you're going to pay a little bit more, but you're getting what you pay for. My pros of the bike. We went over the pros. I love the look of the bike. I love the sound of the bike. I love riding the bike. I love taking pictures of the bike. I love everything about the bike. I absolutely love the bike. If you guys have any comments, questions, anything like that, you are more than welcome to either comment on this video or you can message me on Instagram. I will put the link in the description below, but my Instagram is Ducati Kid 848, all one word, DUCATIKID 848. So you can message me on there, or just check out my page. I post tons of photos and everything like that of new stuff that I do to the bike, or cool places I take the bike, like this beautiful place right here on the beautiful Skyline Drive. So make sure you check out the Instagram page. Make sure you hit that subscribe button right down there in the bottom, or hit the link. Also check out my other videos from my moto vlogs from last year up in Massachusetts. Also have ones in New York, ones going up to Hampton, in New Hampshire, everything like that. And I'm going to be doing more videos of down here in Central Virginia, kind of driving through the cities and checking out. Hopefully I can get up to DC this year, and everything else. So yeah, make sure you like, subscribe, everything like that. Show your friends, show your family. That's great, awesome. If you have any questions, feel free to message me. Other than that, guys, Ducati Kid, getting out of here. Ride safe.